Earlier this week, we lost a beloved member of our community, Pat Callahan. And a lot of people remember Pat from his show, This Week in Pro Football, that aired for close to 20 years. It was on this station for a really long time. And Pat meant a lot to many, many people. He was a father, a husband, and a great friend to so many. And now one of his friends and colleagues is going to be joining us on the Comcast Business Hotline, the one and only Sal Paolantonio from ESPN. Sal, how you doing, my brother?
Bill, thanks so much for inviting me to come on the show and pay tribute to Pat Callahan. Ricky Bo, my man, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, you got it, Sal?
Tough.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. You know, this is a sad thing. I was on his show for every year, 20 years, and then he went over to YouTube, and I was on his show with him. So we were on broadcast partners for 25 years, and it's, you know, the interesting thing about Pat was it wasn't his day job. You know, he was a COO of the DePaul Group, which is one of the most respected firms in the Delaware Valley, and he was a very respected business executive. And I remember him first starting out and asked me to be a part of his show, and he was just a natural. He had a real common sense, distinct delivery. And considering he had zero training and experience, his success was really an inspiration, and he loved the NFL. He really had a common sense approach. He didn't try to chase trends or clicks. You know, he made an instant connection to the audience because he was so authentic. That was really his calling card.
Yeah, and it's pretty.
He was about.
Go ahead, Sal.
Yeah, Bill, he was like that for sure.
Yeah, and it was pretty incredible because he started out, if I'm not mistaken, at a small radio station in Vineland with this show. And because he resonated so much with the listeners, he was able to grow it, eventually joined the Fanatic, and then, like you said, went to YouTube. And he had a really loyal following with that show.
He did, because, you know, he was rooted in the community, but he had an authentic voice that people gravitated towards. And he had authentic values. He was about, I mean, we talk about a cliche, family, faith, and football. Well, for him, it was a way of life. It was real with him. And the audience gravitated towards that. They got that right away.
And real right now, as you know, Sal, real in sports, they don't necessarily match these days. And to have somebody like Pat was pretty refreshing, wasn't it?
Absolutely. That's why I remained on his show. We remained friends. And we used to talk a lot about how to grow the show. We would have pancakes down at Uncle Bill's in Ocean City in the summer before the show would kick off in September, the first week. I joined his show from Brazil live. I've joined him from all over the country. And, you know, he was really interested in keeping up with what was going on in the league. I mean, he brought in a fantasy football component, obviously, and a gambling component. And he wanted to be as modern as possible, but rooted in, you know, old school. His heroes were the old CBS guys, Ray Scott, Jack Whitaker, Pat Summerall, and that was his concise, sort of authentic delivery. You know, there wasn't a lot of bells and whistles, and that's the great thing about radio. I mean, you know, it's such a one-on-one medium. You're intimate with the audience, and people can tell right away if you don't have it or you're faking it, and he never did, and that's why he made that connection with people. It's not like TV where they can see you or, you know, in the newspapers where they can read your sentences over and over. That connection has to be instant, and you have to respect the audience. That's the number one thing. And he understood that. We talked about that all the time. That's what made him a great broadcaster for over 2 decades.
Yeah, and not only was he a great broadcaster, such a good friend. I was listening to Tim McManus, one of your colleagues at ESPN, who usually joins us on Thursdays, and he was telling Johnny Marks on our midday show that Pat really took him under his wing and taught him this business and helped him get to where he is. And now, obviously, he's with you at ESPN. So Pat was always passing it along to other people, which just goes to show how good of a person he was.
Yeah, he was great, and we will definitely miss him. I shall miss him quite a bit.
Well, thanks for coming on today and remembering Pat with us. We really appreciate it. Obviously, we're talking to Sal Paolantonio, the great from ESPN. while we have you, I got a couple questions for you about the Eagles because I know you've been down there. You got your finger on the pulse of what's going on at the NovaCare complex. I was watching you report on the meeting with Jeffrey Lurie and A.J. Brown that Dom DeSandro put together. I mean, at this point, looking at where the Eagles are, they're 8-3, and a lot of fans have these terrible memories of 2023. I mean, how do you see this season going the rest of the way?
Well, I think the message from Nick Sirianni has always been embrace adversity. That's what's made him such a terrific coach with such a great record. In his time in Philadelphia, last week was a disaster. I was in Dallas. I just could not believe. And I was listening to you earlier in the week, Bill, and, there's about 4 or 5 instances where plays went bad. In the second half, the Matt Pryor illegal formation that wipes out Dallas Goedert's big. That doesn't happen. Eagles probably win the game. The decision to kick a field goal, a 56-yard field goal, instead of punting the ball and making Dallas go the entire field. The 2 turnovers in the fourth quarter by Saquon Barkley and Xavier Gibson, very uncustomary. Just stuff that just doesn't happen to this football team, and 14 penalties. This team should have won that game. And so I'm like you guys. I was listening to the beginning of the show. I think this is a big bounce-back week because I think they can clean up. Those are fixable problems, all of those things. They're fixable. There's some things that are going to take time with this team, but those are fixable problems. And I think they got to do a couple of things against the Bears on Friday in order to win the game. The Bears are sort of a mirage of a team. If you keep Caleb Williams in the pocket, and the Eagles can do that, they have speed on the edges, use more of a mush rush, don't get up the field that much, cut off his second reaction plays like Vic Fangio said yesterday in his press conference. I think you can bottle up their passing game, and I think you can throw on them. I think this is a big Dallas Goedert game. I really do.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. The one thing that has kind of popped up on us is that the injuries on defense, now all of a sudden there's a lot of changes happening on defense. You got Cooper DeJean going to CB2. You got Carter now in on the nickel slot. Is that something that could just kind of flow for the defense, or is there going to be some growing pains here for the Eagles?
Well, there's certain things they can do tactically to mitigate that problem. They have to blitz more, clearly. They have to blitz more, but they have to do it in a way that keeps Caleb Williams from evacuating the pocket because he's very good throwing on the run. He's also very good on play action. He's second in play action plays to Matthew Stafford. So that's the big thing. They use a lot of deception and a lot of movement by the quarterback. That's what Ben Johnson loves about Caleb Williams that he couldn't do with Jared Goff in Detroit when he was there. Caleb Williams gives him that athletic aspect to the offense. But the Eagles are very athletic in their front seven. So I think they can do a good job against that part of the offense. But you're right. On the back end, they'll have a week to a couple of days here. It's a short week. Boy, the NFL schedule makers really didn't do the Eagles any favors. Thanksgiving week on the road against the division rival, have to turn around with Thanksgiving in the middle of it and play 5 days later and play now a team that's looking like, oh boy, we can get the number 1 seed. So this is definitely gut check time for this football team, and they have always responded. I heard what you were talking about earlier, that they didn't respond well after that loss to the Broncos and got waxed by the Giants. That to me was an aberration, that game. That was just like a weird game. Plus it was on the road. The Eagles play really well at home most of the time.
Yeah, I think we're right there with you, Sal. I know you got a busy week. You got Thanksgiving tomorrow, and then you got to get up to Pittsburgh. You're going to be in the booth with Steve Levy, huh? Pittsburgh Buffalo.
Yeah, no days off, as Bill Belichick used to say. No days off. And, it's, as Pat Callahan used to say, Sal, it's called This Week in Pro Football. So that's what we're going to focus on, This Week in Pro Football. And, obviously my condolences and prayers to the Callahan family. It's a big, beautiful family in the burbs of Philadelphia, and the services will be on Tuesday, and we'll be there to support the family. So thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it, Bill. It's nice to talk to you. Ricky Bo, you the man.
All right, take it easy.
Thank you, Sal. We appreciate it. And our condolences to you as well, my man. We'll talk to you soon. So there he is, Sal Paolantonio of ESPN, remembering his good friend and a really good friend of the station and really the whole community, Pat Callahan. A lot of people enjoyed this week in pro football. So our condolences to his family, his friends, and we'll always remember him.
What's up, everybody? It's Bill Colarulo from Unfiltered with Ricky Bo and Bill Colarulo. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel because we post a ton of content. It's not just what you hear on air. We're posting content all day long. We do some things before the show, after the show, even stuff during the show. So subscribe, like, do whatever you got to do. We got all this content coming to you every single day.